Ladies and gentlemen, these are the facts as we know them. It has been 1 year at this time since the livestream entitled A Call for Duty, and a lot has changed in that year. As of the writing of this paper on March 14th, 2021, at 9:50 a.m. Pacific time, the planet Earth has gone through a lot. We have had 120 million cases of the coronavirus around the world. In the United States, over 29 million cases have been reported up to this time, and those have resulted in 534,000 deaths. Those 534,000 deaths have made the United States part of America part of the collective 2.65 million deaths worldwide, which is very much up since our last recording. Since our last meeting, BabsCon has been postponed twice. Many people have felt the strain over the past year financially, emotionally, and physically, among other ways. This may sound like doom and gloom, but not all things are bad. 67.7 million people have recovered from COVID, not including numbers from the United States or the United Kingdom. We've witnessed a lot of great things happening over the last year. My guests today can vouch for this. One has hosted a series of online conventions. One has added over 1,000 subscribers, getting 60 within the past month, and one became #forced famous. I know they did this because they followed him on Twitter. So today, I'm joined by the TheLooneyTurtle, Caleb McCardle, aka Talbush51Fan2, got it right this time, aka the Starlight Guy, and Just Got T9. Gentlemen?
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome.
It has been an interesting ride, to say the least.
So the primary reason for... I'm sorry.
No, you're good to go.
The primary reason for calling this meeting was primarily to find out how you guys have been doing over the last year. And so for that, I was wondering if we could start with you, Looney.
Things have actually been pretty all right. Not much has really changed on my end. We did have a couple of lockdowns, but due to my job, I wasn't really sent home or anything like that. I kept working through the pandemic, social distancing, wearing masks. But overall, it's been weird going to stores or gas stations, but overall, the pandemic hasn't really changed my daily routine. The main point where I go outside is to go to cons, and all of them have been canceled. So that's been the main shift for me.
Okay. So, I briefly alluded to this in my opening statement, but you've hosted a series of cons, have you not?
What?
You've hosted a series of online conventions, have you not?
Yes.
Okay, or...
So the issue was probably that the music was still on. I just turned that off. So, this year, last year I started a convention called Looneycon, which actually went pretty well. It was mainly just online panels, and I've mostly been figuring it out as I go on what needs to be added and needs to be changed and so on and so forth. This year we're going to have another Looneycon in June, and I'm really trying to plan out more of the branding, more of the communicating with the vendors and the panelists a little bit better, so we can plan everything out better than it was the past couple of events. But overall, Looneycon has been a pretty fun event to put together and plan out.
Yeah, you put a lot of work into that. I can vouch for that. I've been on your staff twice.
Yes.
So.
And that has been very helpful.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to bring up real quick was, in our last meeting, you mentioned that you had been working on a story model, or how do I word this? A video based on the DNA Helix story model.
Yes, so
how did that work?
That video was kind of delayed a lot over the past year, but I was finally able to get it near the end of last year, where it talks about Infinity Train and how it follows a thing called the DNA Story Helix to a T. The DNA story helix is a way of plotting out the story of a movie, a TV show, anything like that. That was created by a guy named Crit Killen, who was actually one of my college professors. So that's mainly the premise of this video, is explaining what the DNA story helix is, how it functions, and how Infinity Train seems to follow that model pretty closely. So that was a fun video to put out. I have another one in the works that's about music in entertainment, because there's been a couple of songs that I listened to and I was like, these are good, but I don't remember them. Like they're forgettable songs, and I don't like that. I like being able to remember and enjoy the songs that I hear, and so I go over some of the songs that bothered me and how they could be improved or what the issues are with them. And that video is scripted, and I've started editing it, but we'll see how long that takes me to publish.
And one last thing. I know you mentioned you have another Looneycon planned for June, but can you give us the dates for that?
Oh, yes. June 4th through the 6th, I believe. And we're just going to be having another weekend of live streams, games, watching different cartoons in our Discord server. Overall, it's a pretty fun experience, and I highly recommend that anyone go to it.
Nice. So, moving around the metaphorical circle here, I'm actually going to move over to Taylor Beaumcardle, aka Calbush 51 Fan 2. So,
Yes.
Taylor, sorry, I've been following you on Twitter over the past year, and before then too. Don't worry, we are friends. I follow you on Twitter.
Yes, I know that. I know.
Yeah, but let's start out with the not necessarily the elephant in the room, but the cold topic in the room. I understand that you had something sort of major happen to you in regards to the virus. Can you fill us in on the details of that?
Yeah, so a lot of people that do follow me on Twitter, I think I've became now horse famous within the community, which is still unclear, which I still don't really like to go by that tagline these days. But anywho, back in July, I contracted COVID, and it was a very, very rough and scary experience on my end. I practically was on oxygen for maybe a good 10 days out of 15, and it scared the crike out of me. Like, I wasn't sure, because at the time, again, this was still early on. I was scared to death when they came back and told me that I tested positive. I I just wanted to crash and cry. Like, I've done everything correctly, and yet I still get this virus. But the amount of support that I got from the community when I did announce that I did have COVID was incredibly encouraging to me. If it wasn't for everybody in the Brony community, I probably wouldn't have got through beating COVID and still being able to perform my duties as possible. Because honestly, guys, COVID was not a joke. It's real, and it was a lot worse than the flu. It's not a joke, and I said that from when we did this podcast, when we did this live stream a year ago, that it's not a joke. And then even me contracted it. It wasn't a joke. And this is why I keep imploring everybody to please wear a mask until you're vaccinated and everything else. Please continue wearing a mask. These save lives. They save lives. Continue doing your part.
Thank you. We talked briefly about the fact that you've now been followed by the account called @HorseFamous. Um, it's nice to see that you've remained humble in that experience.
Yeah, I don't take it for granted. It's an honor to have them follow me because they follow a very distinct group of people. And out of the tens of hundreds of thousands of bronies, I'm one of the select 200 and something they're following right now. So I take that as an accomplishment, but at the same time, don't look at it as like it's a big deal. As long as people are happy getting to know who the heck I am, because I mean, well, I'm pretty well known. Why I'm pretty much well known because throughout this pandemic, I've grown my Starlight Glimmer collection to craziness, and then now I have pants that
Oh my.
I'm planning to start wearing at cons going forward once we do return. So it won't be hard to pick out who I am on the con scene, whether it's at BabsCon or at HarmonyCon, Everfree Northwest, TrotCon. If I'm attending, not hard to find me. I'm the Starlight
Nice.
guy.
Yes, you are the Starlight guy. Sorry to Thoth, but he is the Starlight guy.
Well, Thoth and I do share like premier custody of Starlight, so don't worry. We worked out arrangements in court and everything. So
And last thing, real quick. Am I correct? I know that you're a major face in one of the servers that you're part of, and you host something on Tuesdays. Am I correct?
yes, I do. So back in April, May, we my a friends of mine started up BlepCon, which is the former BronyCon server before new management took over. We started off with maybe a game night and then a movie night, and then throughout this pandemic, we've grown our events. And in late September, I started a so a virtual webcam hangout. Essentially, it's for people, just to keep connected with one another throughout this fandom. I mean, we have a lot of great people attending this event. Um, I started off with maybe 8 to 9 people in the server, and now we're like capping webcams every week to like 25 people a week. So,
Wow.
even attracting the interest of several well-known show staff from the show, like Ellie Ray, Katrina Salisbury, Brian Doe, Caitlin Bairstow, Ian Hanlon, Asia Asia Mute, who voiced one of the reindeer in the Best Gift Ever, and then
Aurora Borealis.
yep. And then last week, a couple of weeks ago, we had Cole Howard join in for one of our game nights. He was the voice of Tiramar. So we've been becoming well known in the community on Discord, and it's just a really fun place to hang out. GTX, who runs the server, does an incredible job. Thought is running movie night right now as we speak, and then Tuesday night is my event, and we're gonna have Crackle's Cosplay come in and talk about their group and how they cosplay the characters from the show at various cons. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, if you guys haven't been to BlepCon just yet, you need to come hang out with us. It's a lot of fun and just a great way to keep connected with everybody until we can see each other at cons again.
And you said it was Tuesdays, but what time on Tuesdays?
We do these every Tuesday at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific time. So 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. And we
Okay.
usually run about 3 hours.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Now, real quick, I'm going to jump over to our last guest for today, Joe Scout K9. Now, Joe, I've been dealing with you a lot over the past year. I've been on your server. I've talked quite frequently with you. And how have things been for you?
Oh, well, so far, so good. This year has definitely been an interesting roller coaster for me. I've had my very extreme ups and my very extreme downs. But so far in this year, I can't really complain.
Okay. Now, I made note of this in our opening statement, but you've added 1,000 subs since your last since our last meeting. How's that been?
That again is one of my mixed blessings. That is, I was so blown away when I reached 1,000 subscribers, and now I'm even more blown away that I'm approaching 2,000 subscribers. Like, I think I'm only a few hundred people away from that, and
You're
it's
50 away.
50 away. Even more blown away because like it took me 5 years to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I've done almost double that work in only a few months. So it is unbelievable, and it really goes to the fact that it shows that this year has it's allowed me to really come into my element. It has really made me solidify myself as a YouTuber. In fact, it's now what I'm sure I want to do with my life. In fact, I've started doing it almost full time. In fact, starting tomorrow, I will start doing more full time scheduling for videos and stuff. Which I can explain later if you ask me to.
Yeah, so that actually was going to be my next question. You've done a lot of live streaming since then, right?
Yes, I did. Yes, I have. I stepped into the door of live streaming. I started on YouTube, and you know this obviously, Nate, because you and I have done a lot of Team Fortress 2 together on YouTube.
Yes.
Yes. And after a while, I decided to dip my toes into the waters that is Twitch, and that has been a very interesting road. And I've so far expanded just from TF2 to now I'm doing Rainbow Six. I'm doing many other games. I can't really bring them all up on the top of my head, but it's definitely something quite interesting. In fact, in a sometime soon, I will be one of the game I will be adding is Escape from Tarkov, which will be quite interesting.
Oh, nice. Now, real quick, I know that sort of insider information on this one, but I know that you've got some projects in the works. Would you like to bring anything up about those? Or
Oh, my projects. I have had several that, as you said, I am working on, and others that have completely bombed and failed spectacularly.
yes.
One project I'm hoping to keep alive is the the 2020 Brony fandom in a nutshell video, which we are very close to finishing.
Yeah.
But two projects that I am extremely excited for is I gotta go. I forgot to mention this. I entered the Thomas fandom recently, and I started reacting to a series on YouTube called "The Stories of Sodor" by a man by the name of Victor Tanzik, and I am now reacting with a group of people, Nate included, called "The Stories of War," which takes Thomas and his friends through World War II, which I am super excited for. In fact, the first episode will drop on May 26th, which is also my
28th.
10-year anniversary of me
28th.
being on YouTube.
28th, not the
28,
26th.
I'm so sorry.
You're good. You're good.
But the one project I am extremely I can't wait for is a project I'm actually doing. It's one of my first. It's going to be my first big brony projects. I'm actually making an audio drama based around the royal wedding, which will be very, very interesting. I'm very excited to do that. It's going to be. I'm hoping it starts out as an audio drama, and then maybe moves into either a live action or an animated thing. See where it takes it, and see what happens. But I'm super excited for that.
Yeah. Now, thank you very much, Joe. There's one other thing that I really wanted to sort of just touch on. That's changed in the past year, or I believe it's changed in the past year. I don't remember if it happened before then, but we've had the announcement of Generation 5 since we last met. Am I correct in saying that, or?
Yes,
It would be.
Okay, so I will start with Taylor on this one. Taylor, have you been at all in the loop about what's been happening with Generation 5, in terms of people uploading videos and stuff like that?
Yes, I have been. You know, I was just on Twitter randomly the night that the G5, well, bed sheets came out.
Oh yeah.
And originally, I thought they looked kind of cool, but then, like a few nights later, we then get a screenshot of the said character in 3D motion, and automatically, I started getting interested. Now, granted, we don't know who's going to be voicing these characters just yet, or what their premise is going to be. But then a second screenshot came out, and it involves four characters, and then a character with a tennis ball on her head, which I think is going to play a little bit more of a factor than y'all think. Um, but no, my thoughts on G5 is I'm still going in with a lot of cautious optimism. Are we going to get something like something from G4? No, of course not. But is this a good way for us to start a new chapter in the My Little Pony community? Yes, absolutely. So again, I'm going in here with a lot of cautious optimism. I don't want to think negatively just yet. Let me just see the product, let me see the movie and the series before I make a final judgment for what I think of G5. But I'll say I'm cautiously optimistic.
Thank you, Taylor. Now I'll move to Joe. Same question. Do you have any comments about this?
G5. Oh boy. Now, I found into it a little later than usual, kind of a trend with me and ponies. When it comes to G5, I first really heard about it through the premise when they announced the premise of G5, how it takes place in the future, how everyone is basically like separated, friendship and magic no longer exist in Equestria, and whatever that means. And I immediately became slightly worried because the fact that they are really trying like showing a more separate version of like everyone's very separated, very mistrustful of everybody. There are many ways I am very concerned they might fumble this and really not write it in such a very good way. There's many ways I could see a problem with this. However, there are also plenty of opportunities where they could write a very good show and really do what they did in G4, which was teach us all valuable lessons. So there's possibilities for this. As for the characters, I am open to the idea of the animation. The animation looks very interesting, and the fact that I believe they brought a fan of G4, one of our community creators, onto show as like I don't know, I forget exactly what they do, but they help with the animation and the drawing, which is very interesting to me and very I approve of it highly. So I it's got my attention for at least one season and the movie, from what I've heard. They've got my attention, and I will definitely be watching them for at least one season to really get a full feel of the series. So I'm with you, Taylor. I'm going to keep my eyes open on it.
Okay, thank you, Joe. And now we come full circle and background to the Looneycon. Hello.
Mhm.
Also, mind if I jump in? According to the audience, you are apparently muted, Looney.
Oh,
Darn
Oh.
it. I was muted. Dang it.
Okay.
To go over
Turtle.
everything that I just said. When they came out with the bed sheets, I was cautious about how they were going to be presented in animation. Like the character appearance is not too bad the way that they were presented on the bed sheets, but the way that they would be in motion is what I was cautious of. I was thinking, it might not be the best animation in the new series. But with the new promotions, with it being 3D, I love the animation style that they have. But the only thing that makes me iffy is what studio is going to be animating the movie versus what studio is going to be animating the TV show, because there can be two different studios in charge of that, and they could handle their production two completely different ways. So while the movie may look great, the TV show might not look as good. That's my main concerns animation-wise. Story-wise, it's an interesting premise. It makes me kind of wonder what happened in the world of Equestria, if this is how things naturally developed. I like the idea of magic not being in Equestria. It's just a matter of how much time has passed, and are they handling it in a kind of Onward way? If you guys know what I'm talking about, Onward, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they're handling it in that way, there's still some interesting stories that can be told. It's just, what direction are they going to take the story? This is a premise that makes me worried that they're throwing everything out and just starting with their own technically the same world type thing. But depending on how they implement that, how they address the history of the world, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm hopeful, but we'll see how the series plays out.
Okay. Thank you, Looney. Now, real quick, you mentioned something in there that I forgot to bring up earlier. You mentioned, how did you word it? Something about like the premise on what built up to this point.
Oh yeah, the synopsis of the new
Yeah.
series.
And I wanted to jump back over to Joe real quick, because Joe and I had a conversation a few days ago in which the concept of what happened to bring us to this point was brought up. And Joe, would you like to fill in the audience, or should I?
Go ahead, Nate.
Okay, so the concept that was brought up, this was brought up in the middle of a stream that Joe and I were part of. And we were playing Uno. And what happened was, Joe said something along the lines of, is this how they made, or is this what led up to Gen 5? Did Flim and Flam invent Uno and bring it to Equestria, and that tore the friendships apart? It's a very out there concept, but we just found it hilarious at the time.
It just like, could you imagine like Pinkie Pie just like throwing down the entire, like just putting away her entire deck, winning the game, and that pissed off Rainbow Dash or something, and then Rainbow flips the table, hits Applejack in the face, and then it's all over. Friendship is done. Just storm away angry. All thanks to Flim and Flam inventing Uno.
The day the
fanfiction
magic
writers.
died. Coming
Go,
soon to a
fanfiction
TV
writers,
screen
to
near
your
you.
keyboard.
I'm looking at Taylor, and he's just nodding no. Got me a little worried.
He's a.
I never thought, Uno and wrecking friendship would ever come up in the sense, but here we are, folks.
Okay. So I've got one or two more topics that I wanted to bring up in this, and one of them is some comments that we made during the last stream, which you'll be able to find on YouTube, or which you can find on YouTube over on my channel. And one of those comments that we brought up initially was, how long do you think this is going to take before it all blows over? Were we wrong?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was more wrong than most, as I was very quickly informed. I got a lot wrong, and I duly apologize for that, because I was getting it from the wrong sources. So I was, yeah.
So I remember I thought, hey, we might be back in time for BabsCon.
Yeah.
I was wrong there. Okay, we'll be back for the next BabsCon. I was wrong there.
Nope.
I felt like King Julian after like the 5th month. How long is this going to take?
Yeah.
I want to go to a con. Let me go.
That was the culmination of the Brony fandom in 2020 in a nutshell video that I'm planning on doing.
You know,
I've already done most of it.
Now y'all know the secret reason BronyCon ended. They knew what was coming.
BronyCon
like
ended
they
at
had, like,
the
a seer or a fortune teller.
perfect.
I sense a great pandemic to come in the year 2020.
There
Shut
is-
it down now. Shut it down now.
There shall be a great disturbance in the fandom.
Shut it down this year.
Correct.
Yeah, but that honestly, that was the best time for them to just close their doors. In hindsight,
Honestly, now that I look back, I'm like, BronyCon, you made the right move.
You dodged
I
a
still
bullet
think-
right there.
But I think they said, like, I think they fully canceled too early because with the rate that fans are coming back now because of G5, I mean, You
they
never
had their
know.
reasons. They had their reasons.
of course, I know they're
And
legit.
we should
reasons.
respect
I know.
that. We should respect that.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm just reading a comment.
What's
Uno
it
and
say?
golf with your friends break friendships. It's a proven fact. Thank you very much to Travel Typhoon for that one.
yes.
Very
Speaking
generous.
of, after this stream, let's play a game of Uno, guys.
I want to for
Does everyone have tabletop? Does everyone have tabletop?
I don't think I do.
That's how we were doing,
Yeah, that's how we
Ah.
were doing it. And it's actually a lot easier than a lot of people think it is. Like, you don't need to be in VR to do it.
Yeah.
I also I realized that I had you all do updates, but I never gave myself a proper
Yeah,
update.
what about you, Nate? What
Yeah, what
have
the
you
heck,
been up
Nate?
to? What have you been up to? What big things have happened in your life?
Well, for those who can see what's behind me, this is not my bedroom in California. This is Vancouver, British Columbia.
Really?
I am at school, and I've been physically at school since February. I've been attending a college in a digital arts college in downtown Vancouver since September, online for the most part. And over the past year, I've done a couple of things. I revitalized my first YouTube channel. My second one fell sort of into disarray after uploading 4 videos in the past 12 months.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, Joe hates all of them because they all feature googly eyes.
Oh,
You'll probably beat my
open up
record.
your eyes.
I'll get you one day, Nate. I will get you.
One
And,
day he
besides-
will Google you to death.
And besides that, I've got 2 channels, almost at 50 subscribers.
Ooh.
I've done a lot of editing for other people because honestly, I really enjoy that. It's kind of therapeutic, actually, just editing video. So if any of you guys need,
Do you do commissions?
right now I don't commission anyone, or I don't do commissions. I just do it for the fun of it. But if you want to pay me, sure.
Sure, give me money.
If you have any spare money lying around, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
stimulate my economy, would you?
Yes.
But besides that, I also like Taylor, although not nearly as extensively as Taylor. I did contract the coronavirus at the end of December. I had it for about 10 days. I then received a negative test, and the entire time, I felt nothing. I literally had like one symptom the entire time, and that was it. So I can't imagine what Taylor went through because like everyone's got it different. So
Well, for me, everybody kept telling me when they did have it that they lost taste and smell, that they were coughing a lot. I lost my taste and smell for a good period of my time with COVID, even though I was also on oxygen and I was scared to death. But it was difficult. It was not a joke, as I said
Yeah.
before. That it's hard when you're trying to get this virus through your system and try to beat the heck out of it, while you can't even taste your favorite foods, you can't even taste your favorite drinks. It sucks. You know, it it and honestly, it just felt bland. Like I just
Yeah.
wasn't tasting anything like you would normally would, like with like fried chicken or with pizza or any sort of those things that you would get a lot of flavors on. I was not feeling that, and it was scaring me. But eventually, after the 11th day, I could start tasting stuff again, and I was finally off oxygen, and then I got my negative test. But yeah, I've heard a lot worse horror stories, like being really on a ventilator, which I was actually this close to being on,
Yikes.
this close. But I was never in the hospital. I was at home, self quarantine away from my family the entire time on a bottle of oxygen. And, I'm grateful I made it through it. And I got out with little damage to my surprise. My immune system was a little damaged, but not as bad as the doctors initially thought it was. So I'm thankful for that. But
That's good.
going forward, I can't wait to be vaccinated and, you know, have the nuclear armament in my system.
The Fauci ouchie.
Exactly. So
Here's the thing with the vaccine. You guys can all get it like when the government says, but I'm in a different country now. I can't get the vaccine up here, so I have to wait till I get back in September to get it. If it's available then.
Well, from what I've heard from more reliable sources now, is that like the prediction is, so this is not set in stone or anything, but the biggest prediction is that all adults in the United States, at the very least, will be for the most part vaccinated by around late May. That's just vaccinated, and that's not even counting like some of the people that will not be going. So I'm just saying, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not certain, but it is a solid prediction.
I shall take that with a Himalayan salt lamp.
Yes.
Thanks.
Nah, you're fine. But one last note that I have before we can call the video, unless somebody else has something to bring up. But I have one request for the four of us.
Yes.
We've got to do this again sooner.
yes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
1 year was too long.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to come back and start doing maybe more of these update videos.
Yeah.
We can also come to Webcam Hangout every Tuesday night, where you can
Yeah.
where you can be involved with 20 other people, and I don't even know what the heck I'm doing.
And we can also meet up over at Looneycon, where we can
That's
have
right, and
a
if you
panel
want to,
together.
My
and-
streams are taking place every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
You all have your servers. We can find a way to link those somewhere.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
always do something like that.
Besides that, am I good to do an outro, or does anyone have something to bring up?
Stay safe, everybody, and just as Taylor said, keep wearing those masks. They save lives. They keep people safe. So wear them for us, so we can go back to our conventions. Cause I miss these guys. I miss them.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Everfree doesn't cancel because I got tickets and I'm so excited to go back.
I'm
hoping.
I have a sponsor badge, and I don't want to give that up.
Yeah, I want Everfree to hug Taylor. He needs a hug.
Yes, hugs.
Hugs.
No, I think you know what? Honestly, the first con that is going to
Hey.
listen, the first
Yeah.
con that's going to be back, I'm going to guarantee you, day 0 is going to be so emotional. Like everybody just doesn't want to leave the con afterward.
I'll be proudly wearing this button.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guarantee you, we will hug Looney. I will
Yes.
hug you. I'll hug you so hard you pop out of your shell.
Oh my.
What? I've been in lockdown for over. Just note this. Another thing about me is I'm already kind of an isolationist. So
What
I was never
happened?
worried about getting COVID, but the fact of the matter is now, since I've been literally locked down by myself, alone, without my family, because I moved out also this year. Forgot to mention that.
Yeah, you beginning of May, right?
Yeah, I moved out in the beginning of May, so it's almost been 1 year on my own with just a Labrador. It's been hell.
What happened in lockdown stays in lockdown.
Lockdown. That's the problem.
Well, gentlemen,
Yeah.
again, I would like to thank all of you for coming, and I'd like to thank our audience for also sticking through this. At this time, I'd like to thank again Joe Scout K9, Taylor Bo McCardle, aka Kyle Bush 51 Fan 2, aka the Satellite Guy, and the Looney Turtle.
Yes, hello.
So, at this time, thank you so much for watching. We hopefully will see you again before this, or before long, and have a good evening.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Stay safe, guys.